Hey, y'all. Let me tell y'all before we even get started, tonight I'll be seeing Bruno Mars. I just need y'all to know that, okay? Silk Sonic, I'm giving you cut up tea that I got when I saw them in Vegas. I'm giving you my red rose for the romantic because I got to represent both, okay? I am super excited. My messy bun is ready. It is here. It is upon us. And the weather gods are agreeing. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started for this review of Seattle's Married at First Sight, Season 20, Episode 15. Okay, everybody, it's your girl, Jane B. Thank you and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Before we get into the review, just go ahead and smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up, and leave a comment if you'd like, and I would totally appreciate you, and I will respond, okay? Go into my description too, because I got some good things over there. I got some hair products and some other things that you may like, and I also have a Patreon, okay? So definitely check it out, and let's go ahead and get started. We start off with Nikki and Sean doing some line dances, because you know we like a line dance. Belle and Mecca, they're cheering to saying yes. They're like, yes, we doing this. We're gonna make this work. And then Devin and Caitlin talk to his great grandma, because I love grandma. Grandma had the note. She had the note. She was like, I saved this one when you first was born, that you're gonna be great. And now great grandma jumped on the line too. So I thought that was very sweet. So Michelle and Cameron go to meet her aunt. We saw her aunt at the beginning of the season when Michelle was getting married. And Michelle did not tell Cam anything because she wanted him to hear the story right from the horse's mouth, her aunt. So basically, they are Vietnam refugees. They came here, and the parents did a matchmaking, and they wanted the aunt at 18 to go with someone 24 to her prom. I guess she did it or whatever, but then she kind of ran away because she was in love with someone that she went to high school with. And they are still together today. They seem like they have a good relationship. They still run and chase each other around the house, and they basically followed their heart. So, they was asking Cam some questions, and overall, they were just telling them it's good. And they said, listen, give your matchmakers a tip, because you guys seem to be, doing well. So that's good. I think Michelle also, her aunt helped raise her. So that was a good thing as well. So we'll see, because, they seem to be just on the road to making it work, but we'll see. So Tori and Felipe meet with Paul, and basically Tori is saying that she feels emotionally manipulated. She feels like Felipe is stringing her along, and I totally understand why she's saying that, because one minute you in love with me, the next minute you want to screw everybody. What are we doing? And to me, confusion is the answer. Because if you're confused and you're frustrated and you're being strung along, that is the answer. You're being strung along. His truth is causing all kind of confusion. He's saying he's scared to lose her. That's not a good reason, Felipe. This is the thing. It's the age-old selfishness. It's the, I want you, but I want to have my cake and I want to eat it too. But I want you to be okay with it. I want you to be okay with me having my cake and eating it too, with no reservations and no questions. In fact, when I'm out here and doing all God knows what with the people at the restaurant, you should just be okay with it. You should be asleep and then get up early for your meetings the next day. She is pulling away. He's trying not for her to pull away, but then he's not all in. You got to pick a side. And this whole straddling the fence, that's Felipe's whole thing. So Coach Paul thinks that they can get back to bliss. Now, Paul, I've been rocking with you this whole time. Rocking with you and Lisa. Y'all come hard. Y'all come with the facts. Y'all call people out. But what kind of advice is this? You've known from day one that Felipe was a mess when he was late for all the meetings, okay? You know that he's concerned about being committed. All he wants is the hot fire that relationships have at the beginning. You know that he told Tori to her face he wants to screw other people. She's feeling emotionally manipulated. He still doesn't know what he wants to do, but you're saying, I think y'all can get back to bliss? Nah, that's not good advice. Now, Paul, I like you, but that is not good advice. What are you telling her? Because in real life, you would not put up with that. And this is the whole thing too. In real life, because Belle even mentioned this at one time, in real life, there's no way most of these couples would put up with the things that they're putting up with. They're putting up with them, I'm sure, because, you have to be together, I'm sure, for a certain time, or you wouldn't have a show if everyone was quitting. But then I think when a woman stands her ground, if she leaves, when she leaves, that's a powerful statement, because that's letting people know you don't have to stick around for bad behavior, but because it's a show and because it's about ratings and making money, they want to see as much chaos as possible. But it's really unfair to the participants, especially if they are there on a real life, I want to be in love and I want to be and find my person. If that's where they are and then that's what they get, that is who has been emotionally manipulating you, the show, okay? Not Felipe. Adam and Marissa are at dinner because, you know, she was saying that we hadn't gone out since the honeymoon. So I guess he took her to dinner, and Marissa is getting the ick because Adam is eating that rare meat, okay, that barely cooked meat with his hand. And her face is just like, and I can only imagine that look. She was looking at him like, what are you doing? Because I think Marissa is playing the game as well. Like, I think she's going along, but I don't know if she's going to say yes, because I think she's worn out. I think they have fun. I think they have a good time. But I don't think she's a silly lady. And especially since she's already been through a bad relationship back when she was 23, and she knows the ramifications of that. And then she sees this man doing all the things, always have to have a joke, always got to be, you know, provocative, always got to be. I don't know that she's going to stay. Adam feels that they are slightly misaligned on some things, and he knows that they have a lot of work to do. Mind you, at this point, we're talking about a week out. Because they are misaligned on some things, he knows that they would have to meet in the middle. But this is my thing. I don't feel that Adam is a meet in the middle type of person. I believe that Marissa is, because her natural tendencies is to be a people pleaser anyway. But Adam is all or nothing, and it's all my way or the highway. That's Adam. So unless you plan to work out all the time, pickleball and be on that jet ski and maybe once a month do something you want to do, then it's not going to work. So Marissa, do the right thing. Because I honestly, low-key, I think Adam's going to say no too. But Marissa, do the right thing, because he has it so in his heart that he needs somebody like his ex who plays pickleball and do all the things and high intensity. I still want to know why they broke up. See, Marissa, that should be your question. Did you find out why? Why did y'all break up? And then let us know. Don't do it when the cameras are not there. We need to know. Why did y'all break up? Because to me, it's like, if she was so intense and you brag about her, you talk about her. In fact, she needs to get on social media. Girl, the Miss High Intense, Miss Pickleball, we need you to get online, because we need to hear from your mouth what was so amazing. And then we need to know why y'all broke up. Okay. So Nikki and Sean. Sean takes Nikki to this really cute chocolate and wine situation. It looked like a good thing, and Nikki is in raptures because she said those are her two favorite things, wine and chocolate. And so then Sean, because you know Sean is going to make everything an educational project. Even the romance, he's going to make an educational project. So Sean says that he wants to eat the chocolate, drink the wine, and then say something in your life that relates to this. Okay, so there you go with that. So after the date was over, they had a great time, and then they had an intimate night. Y'all, I stay doing that with Nikki and Sean. So now they're kissing. I guess that wine got to her, because they're kissing, they're doing all the things, okay? You hear the and then Sean come out with things flying. He comes out with an open robe, so they had to put the pixelation over. But Married at First Sight is gonna make sure we know, just in case y'all don't know what's going on, we're gonna pixelate in front of his crotch area to let y'all know exactly what happened. And honey, and to pleasantly, I guess, to our surprise, Nikki says that they are sexually compatible. In my notes, I wrote, you're happy, but can this grow into a romantic situation? And then I said, are you in love or were y'all just horny? Caitlin and Devin. So they are going to meet Caitlin's father. She looks just like her dad. And they're at this restaurant, look like a sports bar type situation. And they're having their meal. And then Caitlin says, oh, that's where I get it from, because the father's like, don't take none of my food. He wants all his food. And then she says, Devin always wants to eat my food. Devin is always on a mission to bring closeness in whatever way that means. If I steal a tater tot, that means we in love. You know what I mean? That's who he is. He's always going to put himself in a position and in a situation to get as close to Caitlyn as possible. Meanwhile, they still haven't kissed. Remember, it's been almost 6 weeks. They last kissed on the honeymoon. She lets her father know that Devin is completely self-aware and she is working on her communication. I still question why she even came on the show. If she really wants her own time, if she really, needs her space, she doesn't want to share, she's not affectionate, why are you on Married at First Sight? Did they recruit you? How are you on the show? And then even if you are confused, why not talk about it a little more so that we can understand? I know you talked to Devin and you told him some stuff about your past, but we need to understand because the math is not mathing while you're on the show. And especially while you're on the show about to mess up somebody's life. Because you get with Devin, he's giving you time, affection, attention, his ear, he's listening to Taylor Swift, and you're still giving him nothing. Now, Devin did say that he needs to work on being independent. Now, I don't know Devin, but what I get from Devin is not so much that he's needy. I don't get needy from him. I just think he's with someone who's giving him nothing. It would be very interesting to see Devin with someone who was actually giving him what he needs, just to see how he would be. We always want to self-blame and, that kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, because I could work on being independent. I don't see him not being independent, not from what I can see. I just see that, look, this girl is starving you, okay? So anybody will seem needy if they being starved. Tori and Felipe. Tori and Felipe have a spa day. And to me, this is coming from the heels of talking with Paul, where he's telling them that they need to get back to bliss, which was to me horrible advice. But anyway, so now they have this spa day, and from what they've shown us, the only thing they did, she's in her bikini, he's in his, his trunks. They go to this, which is really cute though. It looked like it was on the water, but it looked like a sauna. And they have this spa date, and then he pulls out the picture from their wedding I guess that's to remind him of the bliss that they were in. And she's like, oh my God, that's all it took, because I ain't seen no deep, serious conversation yet. I haven't seen anything about what we're going to do to make this work in a week. I haven't seen anything. But anyway, so this is where they are, and pretty much that's all they showed us. Now the couples are getting ready for dinner. This is their last group dinner before the finale. So Michelle and Cam are saying, they don't see it for any of the couples. Now, Michelle and Cam, I'm gonna need y'all to calm down, because I think it's because you're with this group where everybody's a mess, pretty much, that you just think we have the best thing going. We're so lucky. We're so amazing. Girl, you are still on the TV show, okay? Now show me year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, when everything is popping, then I'll be whoop-de-wooing. Even though I'm happy for them, don't get me wrong. I am happy for them, but I feel like you guys are a little cocky. You just think, because we're amazing. But remember, you're dealing with a man who has never been in a serious relationship. He's loving it now because this is the blissful stage, and they did get the advice to stay curious. So hopefully they'll do that and they can continue their growth. But don't think you're not going to run into some speed bumps, because you already said you were sad, okay? And Michelle has to come in and scoop you up. So don't get too cute and don't get too cocky, okay? So everyone comes in, Michelle rings the bell, and now they are ready for dinner. And keep in mind, the coaches are watching this as well. So the first couple everyone talks to is Marissa and Adam, and they pretty much talk about Adam talks about how he's trying to be less intense. And he's saying that they have to meet somewhere in the middle. And he is still, talking about his ex. And everyone is still wondering, why does she have to be so intense? And that's a very, very, very good question. And that is something I would need to know too. Because I don't know that we've gotten a definitive answer from him. Because all he says is, well, my ex was like that. But the thing is, I think he did talk a little bit about, how his father wanted him to be perfect and things like that. But my thing is, why can't that be for you? Why does that have to be for me too? You go ahead and be intense and crazy. I don't want to be that. I want to be over here with my friends having a sip of something and taking a nap and reading a book. You do all that. I'll join you once in a while. But that's a sort of an attachment issue too. Is that anxious attachment? What kind of attachment is that? Anxious attachment? where the person always got to be there, do what you, I don't even know. But anyway, so they talked to him about that. Honey, then Sean came on in. Sean done came on in with a straight face. And I guess, this was building and building and building because we're almost at the end now. I guess they said, let it all hang loose. We ain't going to do this no more. We need to ask the real questions. And Sean said, now, Adam, do you always talk like this? In 20 years, are you going to be talking like this? Where is your emotional intelligence? And of course, Adam took that as, what you saying, I'm not intelligent, and that's not what he said. Basically, he said, he's a character. And he said, do your parents talk like this? Are you going to be talking like this in 20 years? Because if you notice with Adam, he has a lot of black scent, and not black scent in terms of the way he says it, but a lot of the things he said, he done got from the good black community. Let's be honest. Like, yeah, I hit it, when he talks like that, or there's a lot of little things he'll say, and I'm like, okay. So now you got this black man, this highly educated black man who's a mess in his relationship, don't get it twisted, but now he's questioning, like, what is all of this? You're a character, this is not real. Like, if vibes can't be everything, cooked can't be everything. You can't describe everything in these words. What is really going on? And sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you guys, sometimes I wonder with white people, do they ever look at black people and be like, you're black, you're beneath me, even though they know you are the bomb, even though they know you are educated and they know you are smart, but the way we've been colonized in America and the way we've been hypnotized in America, that white people, no matter how smart you are, no matter how brilliant you are, no matter how beautiful you are, they still think they better. So I'm wondering if Adam is like, who you think you are, black man? I'm just wondering, I don't know, but sometimes I do think like that. And then Adam came back, and Adam was being chill now at this moment. He said, well, that's just the way I like to communicate with my friends. Adam is shocked that they called him out. So then they're having their ITM. So it's he and Marissa out, after. And he was just like, he got a lot of nerve because him and his marriage are in shambles. The truth of the matter, Adam, is that they were not talking about your marriage at the time. He was talking about you as a person. So you brought the marriage in, but really he wasn't talking about that. You just felt the way that he called you out. So the coaches are looking and they're gagging because Paul was like, oh, I feel like that was my father talking to me. And they agreed that Sean could have said what he said, but in a different way. Because the way Sean was saying it, it was like he was judging Adam. And I do agree with that. Because I do believe that, there's no offense in the truth, but it's the way you say the truth. You can't just be, out here cutting people with with the ginsu, just chopping them up. You could say it, but say it in a way that they could hear you as well. Because if you say it with love, people tend to they can hear that a lot better than when you say it with venom. Again, Michelle and Cam, she said when he's down, Michelle's there to pick him up. She's there to pick up the pieces. And, that's where they're at. So now Becca. Mecca always kind of alludes to the fact that he loves Belle, loves how she moves, loves, love what they're about. And he did let them know that they decided as a couple that they are going to say yes on decision day. That was the setup. So I wrote here in my notes that as problematic as Mecca is, I do believe that he does care for Belle. I just don't believe that he believes he's worth it. And because he doesn't believe he's worth it, he acts out. And I think everyone, if they're honest, at some point in their life, they've been that way. At some point in their life, they have not believed that they was worth it and they self-sabotage. I've done that before. Something Paul said that was very powerful. He says self-sabotage is basically choosing fear over love. And I really think he likes her, but he's going to fight it and he's going to self-sabotage it because he probably thinks she'll leave anyway, like his mama and his stepmama. And you don't know what his father's been feeding him, especially when it comes to women. I would love to talk to that grandmother, Mecca's grandmother. We need to have a talk. Now, is she delusional or is she going to keep it real? That's who we need to have a talk with. Again, he's fighting it because of his past traumas, but either way, that's no good. Because at the end of the day, you want to be sure. You want to be with someone who knows that they want to be with you. You want to be with someone who is kind to you, someone who respects you, and someone that makes you feel safe, as opposed to you scared because you don't know what's going to come out their mouth. Because to me, if I got to fear every time you open your mouth, no, because that means that my whole system is going to be out of whack all the time. I'm always going to be shaking on the inside because God knows what you're about to say. So even though I do believe that he cares for her, but he just self-sabotages because he doesn't know how to deal with it, I also believe that it's still not a good thing in the long run, because Belle is an amazing girl. Belle has her own issues, though. I think Belle has to get to a point where she stopped doing all of this rescuing and saving. She needs to rescue herself and speak her truth immediately. You know what I mean? She needs to really speak her truth about how she's feeling, especially about how she's feeling the way he treats her. Now, he did say that their bond is getting closer and stronger, and it really is surprising to both of them. He said he is not in love, but the feelings of love are there. But then they also, I think Belle said that love is also an action, you know, so the things that he's doing is showing that he's in love. Sean and Nikki, they say they are closer now than they have ever been, and it was a surprise to both of them. But, you know, they did talk about they still need to grow in terms of family, because they still haven't met each other's family, not even on the telephone. And that is very telling, because a lot of times when you get couples that they like each other or they really are into each other, you know, that family meeting comes quick. Those family meetings come quick, either by phone, FaceTime, in person, but they haven't done that at all. So then, you know, Adam's still salty, y'all. So he's going to say, oh, so, you know, y'all went from hell to heaven and now you're perfect. And they were like, no, we're not perfect. Don't try to come for us, Adam. And then Adam says, I don't buy it because I don't feel any love, any intimacy. Look at y'all sitting 16 feet apart. Honey, and then Michelle chimes in. You know Michelle's always chiming in. Somebody need to chime in with her and Cam. But anyway, so Michelle chimes in and she was just like, because, you know, Nikki, you know, I don't really see it either. I mean, listen, they're not lying. They're not lying, but it's just interesting how everyone dog piles and chimes in on them. But anyway, they were like, no, we don't see it. Michelle was like, no, I don't see it either. So that's when Nikki dropped the bomb and let everybody know, oh, we've been intimate. We not sex, because she makes sure they didn't have sex, but, you know, we have been intimate. So it is growing. She said it was nice. She said it was really nice. And she even laughed a little bit like, oh, it was nice. Okay. So she said the sparks are sparking. The sparks are flying. So then Mecca chimes in and he says to Nikki, he doesn't see the physical connection with Sean. He just like called him on it. And then Mecca says in front of the whole table, it's okay because I didn't really like Belle when I wasn't attracted to Belle when I first saw her. What? Coaches are gagging. I was gagging. I'm gonna tell y'all, every time I wanna like Mecca, every time he pulls on my heartstrings a little bit, i.e. the birthday, he turns around and he do something stupid. He turns around and say something dumb. What are you doing? Belle is giving you Moana, okay? She's got, because Belle gonna have a wig. She got, what? Belle giving you long wig, flower in the hair, red dress, they matching. He got on the red shoes, they doing all that thing. So on one hand, y'all are together, y'all coordinated, y'all come together. And on the other hand, you're gonna say, oh yeah, because whatever performative way he's trying to present, he'll use whoever he needs to get his performativeness out. You keep that to yourself, or you keep that maybe between us. And then you double down, so now it's now the audio is isolated to them. He says, yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought you was a pretty girl, but were you pretty enough for me? Devastation. The look on Belle was deflated. She said, I'm gonna have to regulate. He got me all effed up. Mind you, Mecca got on a whole hat because his hair's dusty. Can the barber please chime into the group chat? Where have you been? Where have you been? Because where Mecca is talking about, are you attractive enough for me? You over here looking crunchy. You got a lot of nerve. And I'm not giving him grace. I'm not giving him grace on that. Even though I know where the issues stem from and I believe I know what's causing all this, he still gets no grace because I am in the line of fire. I am getting the bullet, says Belle. I'm the one getting shot between the eyes, says Belle. While you are just out here trying to be performative and you are out here trying to make a point but using me to make your point, embarrassing me, making me feel bad. Nah, she said noted. I will be very surprised if Belle takes Mecca after all this, because is not going to change. This is a grown man who has not been to therapy, and abandonment, crazy father, and you trying to be married? Nah, it's not going to work. I felt for her so much right there because you could see it on her face, but she's also interested in saving face. See, that's part of Belle's problem too. Call a thing a thing. She is really worried about saving face. And because she's worried about saving face, she's not going to rip into him like she needs to. So Devin and Caitlin said they are having a good week, but they still need romance because there has been no romance. So the group, they asked, so you could be married with no sex? Like, would you be married if you didn't have sex with the person? Or would you prolong this or whatever? And everybody was like, no. They was like, no, I need to have sex. Now, mind you, Nikki and Sean haven't had sex, but at least they've done sexual acts, okay? And everyone was just like, no. And then, of course, Caitlin comes back with, look, I'm sure of his ability. He's sure of my ability, but that isn't everything. But no, girl, there's more to it, because even if you didn't have physical, actual intercourse, there are things that could lead you to know, oh, this, when we do this, it's going to be good. But Devin hasn't even gotten that. So Devin don't know nothing. Devin probably don't even know what you feel like at all, period. So now Mecca and Caitlin are having a conversation, and then Devin starts to, say something, have his say about the situation. And she cuts him off. She says, but I'm talking to Mecca right now. So disrespectful. So then, as per usual, Devin apologizes. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the coaches agree with Devin, like, no, you're doing too much, Caitlin. So disrespectful, cutting him off. And I'm going to tell you something. One thing I know as a woman, and I guess this can apply to a man too. When a woman in particular, when we get quiet, you better run for your life. As long as we yelling back and forth, you're all right. But the minute we get quiet and we don't do that yelling back and forth, you better run for the hills, okay? Because every time he apologizes, I said, ooh, this ain't gonna end good. Because he knows he's being disrespected. He don't like being disrespected. And he's still, okay, sorry, sorry. You better watch out, girl, because Caitlin, you in danger. Tori and Felipe. So Felipe says that after therapy, he realized that he only wants to be with Tori. He said he's committed, he's gonna choose her and only her. He's changed his ways. All that stuff he was just saying last week, that don't apply now. He said he only wants Tori. The group is not convinced. They're like, no. Y'all need some therapy for real. Right now, he said he wants to be committed, and Tori said, but there will be no gray areas. So basically, they were dogpiling on him. I mean, they were letting Felipe have it, but you deserve that, Felipe. You told this woman to her face, blindsided her at a dinner, that you want to sleep with a lot of women and you miss sleeping with women. So then he had the nerve, the gall, and audacity to be upset that Tori did not come to his rescue. She said, absolutely not. You brought that on yourself. Felipe is so used to people bailing him out, i.e. his mother and his sister. I'm sure his father too. Tori said, I'm not the one. I'm not your mama. I'm not your sister. I'm not your family. Forget it. You dug yourself into this. You dig yourself out. Honey, then Cam said, this whole side of the table, which was Devin and Caitlin, Nikki and Sean, and Tori and Felipe, he said all of y'all need to call it. All three of y'all. Cam don't play. See, Cam's a coach at a community college, so he's dealing with young people, and I guess he puts foot in tail because he didn't have no problem saying that. And I'm like, ooh, they must tell them to be spicy. They have to tell them to be, the production has to tell them to be spicy, because in real life, would you say that to somebody? He said, all y'all need to go, all three of y'all, and they all like gagged. And that was the end of the episode. This was another good episode, good eye-opening episode. We're starting to see people's true colors come out more and more and more and more. And and we're winding down. We just have another, I think, 2 weeks to go. And we're going to see where these couples end up. Honestly, with the except of Michelle and Cam, I don't see it for none of these couples. Not in the long run. Not in the long run. I don't see it for any of them. But we'll see. But anyway, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. Definitely leave an orange heart in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share if you care. Hit the notification bell. And until the next time, peace.